So we are on, and here is Eugene Uman while I'm doing a little cutting and pasting. Very clever. beautiful. Yeah. Ah.
See that? I have never seen that video.
How do you like it?
Well, I like it a lot. I love playing with those guys. That's Steve Cady on the bass, George Robinson on the drums, and we are good friends, and we've played together many, many hours, and it would just it always feels good playing with them. So it's nice to hear that and to just go back in time and remember that was like our first gig that we did after the things started opening up with COVID, and we did it without masks. It was a big deal
Uh,
to decide whether we were going to wear masks or not.
yeah. I saw the the picture in the background. The sign on the wall of the woman playing the accordion with the mask on.
Yeah, right.
That
Yeah,
was,
well, it was pretty bold. In fact, that concert there was no people in the audience. There were no people in
yeah.
the audience. We were just
Thinking
playing
that.
to an empty room with a sound person and a video person, and that was part of the Northampton Jazz Festival as like one of their concerts that they were doing during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very beautiful. It's my kind of trio. I love
Nice,
singing with a
nice.
trio like that. That's me. Kind of gentle, subtle, swinging, just yeah, kind of doing cool things. My kind of trio.
Yeah,
um, let's see.
usually I play a lot of original music too, so that's another part of my bailiwick. But that band is a band that specializes in doing standards, so it depends on what group, you know.
Ah, okay. Well, I've heard one of your originals because for those of you listening, oh, by the way, Joyce Glasgow is here and
Oh,
he says
hi,
hi.
hi, Joyce.
Um, so, yeah, when I was introduced to Eugene, it was because I saw a very beautiful thing that Eugene did. Jay Clayton was sleeping. She was, it was just a few months ago, right? Probably 2 months ago,
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah, I think it was. Let's see, it was in December.
Might have
I
been early December.
Yeah, I think it was in mid-December.
Yeah, wow. Well, that was close to when she passed. And she was lying there. The shot was had her lying there, and then Eugene playing the piano, and it was a really beautiful song and your composition, and you could see Jay smile every now and then, little smile, and her eyes were closed, and she was totally digging it. That was just so beautiful that you did that, and yeah, and it was a really beautiful song. Your playing was beautiful.
Thank you so much. That was called Wheel of Time, and that's a song that I play when it feels like there's this moment which is not going to ever be repeated. And that moment there it was with, of course, Dija
Yeah.
was Jay's daughter, and a friend of theirs called Tawny, who came all the way from the West Coast to be with them. And they were sitting there honoring Jay during that time, and I made a trip to visit them just to spend in an evening with them, just hanging out. And Jay's piano is there in the apartment in the condo in New Paltz where she was in hospice, and it was just the piano being there was an invitation to play it, and it's a beautiful Yamaha 7 foot
Oh,
grand. It's a nice piano, and so what was I gonna do with that piano just sitting there in Jay's hospital bed right next to the piano? So I played a few tunes, and that one felt like the one that really had the most meaning. And then, though, actually, I shouldn't say the most meaning because then afterwards, I played two or three tunes with Deja singing, and those were really
Um,
to be. And Deja sounds a lot like Jay,
yeah,
so to be playing music accompanying a singer who sounds like her mom, and while her mom is in this space, just you could see that the music was having an effect on her. It was very, very special. Very, I'm honored to have been there.
that's really lovely. Yeah, they are amazing. Deja is, she's like a hero. She
Yeah.
just unbelievable what she did and how she did it. She wasn't just like a sullen caretaker. She was totally positive. I went there in June and
Mhm.
hung out, and yeah, she was just always positive and always, you know, and really laying on the joy, and um, you could really feel their love for each other. It was really a beautiful, beautiful thing to observe and be next to. I mean, I'm not that surprised, but when you see it and it's right there, it's very effective.
Mhm.
But I mean, Jay is the epitome a I don't want to say a perfect human being, but a great human being, um, who like brings jazz into it. But I think most of what I feel about Jay is her honesty. You
Mhm.
know, as a being, just honest. And there's no problems with being honest. And everything's okay, and let's look at it and let's move ahead and let's learn, and you know that to me is Jay.
I agree with you, and I'll get to that in a second. But first, I want to address your point about Deja being a hero, because I feel that way too. I think that she exemplifies something there's a problem in our society now, that we don't take the time to express to the people who we care for our love, and so the fact that Deja quit her job, rented out her apartment, and came to live with her mom when she heard that she had, a terminal illness, uh, it says a tremendous amount about her and her mom and their relationship. And the fact that it was a full year, of passing that Jay took on, and it was a year that they got even closer to each other, and you can really, that vulnerability that happens when someone is really ill. um, it's a doorway to that honesty that you brought up, and I was very fortunate and I lived close enough. I was there, I don't know, three or four times, and each time I went there, I got filled with that sense of being honest within that vulnerability, and then being able to, it's just a time when you really appreciate being alive and being a part of their world because they welcomed you into it. It was just a very tremendous experience. But I also wanted to address what you said about Jay in general, because I have the very good fortune that Jay co-taught with Sheila Jordan for like 20 years at this summer workshop that I run. And therefore, I got to be their accompanist, which is like so much fun. Get better than that. And both Jay and Sheila have completely different styles of teaching, and I got to be there and observe both of them. And what you said about Jay's honesty is really right on, but also her sense of playfulness, I think, is something that we need to address, because she was kind of goofy in a very lovable way. And, and who can be kind of goofy and have that be okay and not have to feel like you have to appear to be some kind of, you know, buttoned up person all the time, because she just like let it out and was super playful. Yet, on the other hand, when it came to the quality of the music, you know, that was paramount. So
Yeah.
there was this beautiful dialogue between being playful and being serious about the craft. And my favorite record of hers, although actually there's two of them, but one of them is the record that she did with Fred Hirsch, which was just a duo record with
Yeah.
piano and voice.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And talk about like level,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
because they're just two masters playing together and playing with each other. That is one tremendous record. So if anybody wants to seek out, in my opinion, Jay's like one of her pinnacle records, it would be that one, the one with Fred Hirsch. And then the other one that I like them all, but then the other one that I really like is Brooklyn 2000 with
Yeah.
um, George Cable's on piano. So she always had these really good piano players playing with her too, which is something that was really wonderful for me as a pianist.
Yeah. I have up one of the, on my on my 47 tabs that I keep open. Um, what it is, well, it's a 7/8 piece.
Oh yeah.
Really nice, beautiful. I mean, she came here. Uh, she came here every now and then, and then I would create a gig and workshops for her,
Oh
and
nice.
yeah, and I always found it interesting that she wasn't as famous as, or well known, let's say, as Sheila Jordan. And I just thought it's interesting that Sheila Jordan has people who are coming to see her in abundance perform, and Jay, it's not the same with Jay. I didn't quite understand how that could be, because basically they came up at the same time, and they were both making the lofts in New York, and so there was a lot of history. But I mean, you can never say what your path is, right? But um, the last time she came here, I want to say it was for her 80th birthday,
Yeah,
and
did a tour. She played here for her 80th birthday as well.
yeah, and she had a really good band here, and I made sure to call up particular people and just really kind of say, you really have to come and pay tribute to her. She's 80 years old, and you have to. And it was a really nice showing in the audience, and she was brilliant.
Mm.
It was just, she was basically at the top of her game, and musicians and she were relating gorgeously, and I felt like, yeah, this is somebody to pay tribute to, and to listen to and give respect to, so I was really glad of that. Yeah, that kind of leads me into an area, and we can kind of talk about this a little bit, um, which is, how does one see one's career path? And you're a teacher, right? And is it for the Vermont Center, or is it for other? Is there a university involved as well in your
Uh,
teaching?
I teach, I run a nonprofit called the Vermont Jazz Center.
Uh-huh.
I've been doing that now with my wife Elsa Barrero for 20, we're going on our 27th summer.
Oh,
We've been
wow.
doing it a long time. And, but I taught in several different universities. I teach still at Amherst College 1 day a week, which I
Uh-huh.
really enjoy. And I started the jazz program at two different universities in Medellin, Colombia. And so they still use part of my syllabus, at least one of them called EAFIT. And so I taught there for a solid year, getting the program established. And I've taught at other places as well, but I still teach at the Vermont Jazz Center. I like to run ensembles. I run a Latin jazz ensemble and a youth ensemble currently. And I also teach private piano lessons, and I've taught theory. That's my favorite thing to teach at the summer workshop, because I have a really clear way of teaching theory that I think gives people a doorway into really getting into it more deeply, because a lot of people have this fear of theory, and
Yeah.
it's anything to be fearful of at all. But I think that there's been a lot of people have tried to teach theory in such a way that it's just so convoluted. And to me, it's just very straightforward. You got to learn your chords, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. And then you have to understand the scales that go along with the chords. And once you get those two basic things down, then the other stuff can fall into place. But a lot of people try to add too many things into that puzzle so that it gets really convoluted really quickly. And so I teach that and the intermediate theory level. Of course, I've taught other levels of theory, but that's my favorite one to teach. I've taught jazz history, I've taught jazz pedagogy, and I love being a teacher. It's something that gives me a lot of gratification, because I can see the light bulbs going off and how this becomes a gift to the people who receive it, because then they start checking out more of the music, the lineage that is so important to all of us, and understanding, wow, maybe it's time for me to go and see how that theory is applied, or listen to from the jazz history point of view, to understand how we stand on the shoulders of people, like Charlie Parker or John Coltrane or Ornette Coleman or all the pianists. So I really get into understanding how we are at a certain point in time, but we're also reliant on the wonderful gifts of the people who have come before us.
Yeah. I've been watching again the Wayne Shorter documentary, which
Mhm.
is one of the best things out.
It's great.
I
Yeah.
mean, if those of you watching haven't seen it yet, it's in three parts, and it's amazing, the quality and um, the lineage of this amazing music and of this amazing man, and it stirs up all my the deepest things that I'm appreciative of in jazz. It's everything from the persons themselves to to the music, through the music. It's really stunning, stunning. Really moves you.
Yeah. Yeah. And how his music becomes like a real distinctive voice, and
Yeah.
he give that how he wants there to be a lot of freedom in his music, rather than just having to adhere to certain structures. And I think that breaking out of that structures is something which was one of his real um, contributions, allowing that to happen. Although I honestly don't think that in the mainstream jazz education places, universities or what have you, that people have taken that message to heart. Because and that was something that Jay Clayton was really good at, was like having that permission to go to different places and yet still have it be accessible and not just cacophony.
Yeah.
And he was a real master of that, and how that then became like a spiritual journey for him as well, because of that letting go, again, that vulnerability that we were talking about with Jay and DJ. I think that there are a lot of things to learn from that documentary. It's beautifully done.
Yeah, it really is beautiful. So just kind of winding back to this question that I have that I just often contemplate, or see people going through questions about it, which is career path, you know,
Yeah.
because it's such a personal journey that we're on here on the planet, and uh, there's so much competition, quote unquote, and um, I'm sure you see a lot of it because students, especially college age students, um, I mean, I think Berkeley has something like 8,000 students.
It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy. So somebody has to say, what am I going to do after college? Am I going to be a famous musician? Or what am I going to do with it? And so I feel like Jay and I had shared some perspectives on this because both of us are not like the last word in jazz, and but are respectable musicians and do respectable things and have a good life, and you know what I mean. So anyway, any comments on that kind of thing? Do you find yourself talking about that with students?
Very interesting. Last time I was in Colombia, I was invited back to the university where I started the program, and it's like, okay, Eugene, what are you going to talk about? Theory or whatever? And I'm like, no, let's talk about your future. So I asked that exact question of, it was all of the jazz students at that speech or whatever, this conversation that we had. And I feel like it's really important that at that age we have an understanding of the fact that the music is going to be something that's enriching no matter what. So it's important to know that their time is not wasted. Even if there are 8,000 students at Berkeley, that when they graduate, they're going to have to figure out something to do with their lives. But it's really important to see that jazz, the tools that we learn from studying jazz are not just germane to jazz, that they're the ability to improvise is something that we need as a skill set in life.
Right.
And it's important to know that we're enriching our lives, and it's going to last forever, that this
Yeah.
is going to be how we identify as people. But as far as a career path, one of the cool things about being in Vermont is that most of us cobble together our own path. We figure it out, and it's kind of like something that has been done for generations. I think that things have changed actually, with the advent of technology and the internet, and that I have two kids who are in their late 20s, my own, my son and my daughter, and I see them, it's like trying to navigate a very difficult system. Things are different than when you and I were that age, and it's not so easy to just like get a job and like doing some kind of grunt work for a little while, because you know that eventually it's going to pan out and you're going to find something that's better, that suits your lifestyle or whatever. So with music, it's something that I think we will always have in our back pocket, but I I played it safe. I have a degree in forest management.
Oh,
So when I went to college, my first degree is in forest science, and I did that for 10 years before I went to graduate school to study music. But I've always played music, you know.
yeah, yeah,
So it was something that I was really glad that I still had the music in my back pocket because I wanted to go. That was my passion, and I felt like I had no alternative. I
yeah,
needed to play or do something that was connected with music in order to have a fulfilling life.
yeah,
And so I got out of forestry and went to graduate school in music, and it was all well and good. But answering your question again, it's like, what do you tell people? They all have to have their own journey. Are they going to play it safe? Are they going to get another job? Are they going to just dedicate themselves to being a performer? I don't know. That's really hard because even people who are at the very top of the pyramid are, you're not sure if you're going to be able to get a job on your talent alone.
yeah,
You also have to have marketing skills and be able to play the game, right?
yeah.
And that's something that I think maybe at Berkeley they teach that, but it's not the kind of thing I was ever taught. And I don't know about you, but
No, no, definitely not. As a matter of fact, I've had a kind of a related conversation a lot over the last few months, because some of my friends are growing older and they have nothing to fall back on.
mm,
And, so it comes up that it's like, I always talk about, if we lived on a really hip planet, things might be different. Like the system would actually teach young people growing up how to communicate, like have a class on communication, have a class on handling finance, you know. Oh, perfect. Turn my volume down. Can you hear this still? I have to start again. Never. I might have to stop and oops. Fortunately, I think I don't hear it anymore. I, I you getting off and then coming back on. Weird. Oh, are you still here? So sign off and I don't hear it anymore. Okay, let's see if he can come back. Otherwise, I might stop the uh, the video and come back on. I've never heard that before. Uh, I guess I was talking about something that the universe didn't want me to talk about. Oh, um, yeah, I don't know, Joyce. I'm not sure. But anyway, he got off and he must be doing something. Um, he must be trying to see, like maybe he's moving or something like that. But yeah, this is. I'm going to be doing a tribute to Jay online on February 21st, the evening. California time, it should be 7 to 9. So look for that. It's on my Facebook. Um,
Hello.
Hi, you sound good.
All right. Good.
I thought maybe the gods were like, shutting me down from saying that. Oh, terrible. Um, you still there? I guess Vermont is maybe a hello.
There's
Hello.
still a little bit of a delay.
And you're frozen. Hmm. If this happens again,
How's
hi.
that?
Yeah,
Oh, wow. What happened?
I don't know.
We're good.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
Oh, did you record the first part?
Oh, yeah, everything's been recorded, and I haven't gotten off. So we're still going.
Oh, okay, great. I don't know what happened there. It's all good.
Yeah.
All right, good. Let me go to view so I can see it full screen.
I think what I was saying before, right before that noise started happening, basically is that, you know, it would be really nice if the educational system brought us up with practical things that really made our lives turn out better. How do you plan for your old age?
Hmm.
How do how should you start thinking of your finances? Communication, I just never quite understood why they didn't teach that in elementary school and junior high. It's like, what could be more important than communication?
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah, should be the standard, not the, occasional great program.
Oh, I definitely agree with you. But like let's think about what it could be for like somebody that studies music and they get a degree. They can teach other people music, sure, and they can go into the schools and continue to do that. And I think that's enriching people's lives. They can perform, they can work in a recording studio, they can be a business person that helps other people doing their music. Um, there are other things that they can do, but in general, I think it's pretty hard to make a living as a musician. And if you wanted to go into something that was more economically lucrative, hmm, you wouldn't really choose music as a career path. But I
Yeah.
think that we have to do music. Like I stopped doing forestry because I felt compelled to do what I loved.
I believe it or not, I know another guy who's the same, a drummer in Fresno.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he worked for a long time in forestry and was telling me things that were, you know, scary, about problems. that the climate change
Oh, with the environment, yeah,
and
especially in
not,
California. Oh my God.
yeah, and not taking care of the forests well. For instance, clearing out the brush, and why that was important. Yeah, there's a lot to do here.
On
Lots.
this planet, and I think that more and more our young people are realizing that they have to be the caretakers of the planet, and there's still this older guard that thinks that, oh, we can just keep on moving ahead, business as usual.
Yeah.
And that's not the case, obviously. And
No.
my hat is off to all these young activists that are out there fighting for climate change and doing the good work. And I hope that this is new. I wrote a tune based on that called New Paradigm, that I think we need to move into a new paradigm. And I feel like, thank goodness, I see that our younger generation of people are really fighting for that. At least I see that in my two kids. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Um, can we hear something like an original, whether or not it's a video? Doesn't have to
Sure.
be video. What should I look
Yeah.
for?
Well, you know what? Why don't we the piece that you heard that night with do you have Spotify? Actually,
I
it could
do.
be on YouTube too. Look for it's called Wheel of Time, and I'd love for people to hear that because it can be my dedication to Jay.
Yeah. I One of my open tabs is still you playing for Jay too.
Well,
That
you could do that. I mean, my stuff's
okay.
so
I'll do
that
that.
is kind of beautiful. Could even show the video.
So pretty. Beautiful. I muted you because try unmuting. Wow, I don't know. Not sure what to do with this. It's might be your microphone somehow, because I don't hear you because I muted you because that way I don't hear the sound. You could chat with me if you want. um, yeah, that's too much. Um, hmm. Yeah, it's just too much. Let's see. Not sure what to do here. I would like to keep talking, but I can. The only other thing I can try to do is start the whole show again, which I don't know. Maybe send a new Zoom link. Take a few minutes to do that. I'm not listening, hearing you, but if you can chat with me. Yeah, something about the connection with you. And we're both wearing the same color blue shirt, too. It's just, who would think that this could happen? So I'll probably try and just restart the whole thing. Let's try that. Also, I will change my camera. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hold your spot on the Facebook, and we will be back. Okay, I'm going to send you a new Zoom.